As the world population rapidly grows, a lot of pressure is exerted on the natural environment, being evidenced by exploitation of the natural resources for human survival. The 2024 data by the United Nations showed the world having 8.1 billion people, with Uganda contributing 46 million people. Of these, 23.4 million are women and 22.4 million men, according to Uganda Bureau of Statistics Report 2024. With these findings, experts regard women as people who have more interactions with the environment through agriculture and gathering wood fuel amidst limitations of land ownership.
I must say land is owned by men, and that is a culture. And you see, the biggest percentage of the farmers that are actively engaged are women, though they don't own land.
According to 2017 Population Matter by the United Nations Population Fund, only 27% of women in Uganda have access to registered land, despite the majority of them being engaged in agriculture. Most traditions in Uganda transfer land ownership through inheritance, succession, and donations, but the various cultures and customs prioritize ownership and rights of family land to boys that experts look at as a factor affecting the fight against climate change.
Much as they access land through their husbands to farm, they still face challenges. There are those that have come to my office and telling me my husband is not allowing me to plant trees because they look at trees as a permanent investment.
Professor Robert Kajobe, the Director Graduate Research Training and Innovations at Muni University with an environmental background, explains.
Now, because the women are the ones tilling the land, over 70% of the ones are the ones producing. If the people who are engaged in agriculture, 70% are not planting trees, that one affects the climate directly. So women should be able to own land so they can plan properly and invest and plant trees.
Culturally, women's fate remains to possess secondary rights based on their relationship with the male landowner, like a husband, in case the woman cannot buy her own land to have authority over. Many women in Uganda have testimonies of being denied access to family land, with worse scenarios being among uneducated women.
Men still believe that maybe women were gotten from their ribs. It deprives women from having total control of the land so that you are able to plant trees.
Harold Achema, formerly a Ugandan ambassador, now turned an opinion writer with a Daily Monitor newspaper, gives a journalistic perspective on how societal systems can empower women in environmental protection and management through land ownership.
Sustainable Development Goals. Goal number 5 is on gender equality. And really today in the 21st century, my view is that there should be no discrimination in terms of who owns land. In fact, today, most of the people who are involved in agriculture, in fact, I think according to UBOS, 80% of people in rural areas. So really, I think women should have as much right to own land as men.
Lugbara Chiefdom is one of the biggest cultural institutions in the West Nile sub-region of Uganda. To understand the Lugbara cultural perspective of land inheritance and distribution in families, I spoke to the Prime Minister of the Chiefdom, Ismail Tuku.
It is a very challenging subject. The Lugbara perspective is that this girl has a right as the boy. She gets her first piece of land from the parents. She calls it her garden. When she moves across to another clan to get married, this girl leaves the piece of land in full support of the family. And once you are given this bride price by your father, you know that the idea behind it was to say that you are responsible for the issues of this sister of yours. The food, stuff grown in her new home may not do very well like her own from the parent side. And she normally entrusts the family back to grow for her crops that do not do well. And should the marriage become sour, should she divorce or be divorced, this girl will not go anywhere else but come back home to settle on the piece of land she had.
Despite having equal rights in owning family land in the Lugbara tradition, boys are evidently seen claiming inheritance of their father's land, leaving girls out of the picture.
There are families that receive their daughters back, their sisters back with both hands, and there are those who chase them back. Somebody comes and says, "We had given you to another clan." This is partly because of one, greed. Two, she must have lost the parents.
Articles 26, 33 and 237 of the 1995 Constitution of Uganda gives equal opportunities for men and women to have equal rights to property ownership, including land. Rehema Minala is a legal officer with the FIDA Uganda who has given legal insights on how land ownership by women can improve environmental justice.
So for a woman to own property, she can obtain it in different ways. One, she can purchase it. She can get it as a gift from a relative, a parent, a friend. She can also inherit that property. So if they have that land and they know it's theirs, they will dig, they will plant trees.
State Minister of Lands in charge of urban development, Obiga Mario Kania, says the Lands Ministry is equally concerned about the worsening climate change and the urgent need for environmental protection, where women are seen pivotal in the cause.
We planned the whole country nationally, where what crops, what trees, what human activities could be done in a particular place. It should not be planted near river sources because they will dry away, or wetlands, they will dry them away. Similarly, there are areas where crops will not do very well. We've also planned for those for other activities. For example, settlement. You know, when so many people come in one area called an urban area, there's some urban center, they have a lot of impact on the environment. So the idea that women cannot hold land is wrong. In terms of environmental protection and ownership of land, women are extremely central. And women are more sensitive to these things, particularly women in the rural areas. They rely on the environment a lot for whatever they want to do. Whether it is collection of firewood, whether it's collection of water, whether it's collection of building materials. Therefore, if women are empowered to own property on land, to own trees, they are in a better position to protect the land and conserve it. We must accept that these all cultures which are negative should be done away with.